Kevin Spacey has apologized for his behavior after being accused Sunday of sexual assault. According to actor Anthony Rapp, Spacey climbed on top of him after a party in 1986. At the time, Spacey was 26 and Rapp was just 14. In his apology, Spacey acknowledged publicly for the first time that he is gay. Jerika Duncan has more.
Actor Anthony Rapp told BuzzFeed he met Kevin Spacey in 1986 when Rapp was just 14 and Spacey was 26. They were both performing on Broadway. Rapp says Spacey invited the teen to his apartment for a party. After everyone left, Rapp claimed Spacey picked me up like a groom picks up the bride, and then he lays down on top of me. I was aware that he was trying to get with me sexually. Today, Spacey responded saying he didn't remember the encounter, was probably intoxicated, and if I did behave then as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology. But in the next paragraph, he says, "This story has encouraged me to address other things about my life. I choose now to live as a gay man." Tyler Coates is the senior culture editor for Esquire.com.
The thing that most people are probably outraged by was that he used this as an opportunity to come out as gay.
The CEO of GLAAD, Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, said that this isn't a coming out story about Spacey, but a story of survivorship by Anthony Rapp and those who speak out about unwanted sexual advances. When the Harvey Weinstein scandal broke, many in Hollywood decried the way Weinstein allegedly treated people was an open secret. Some are now wondering if the same is true for Spacey. 2 weeks ago, a former Boston news anchor, Heather Unruh, tweeted that Spacey assaulted another person, her loved one. I spoke to Unruh today, who said right now she cannot comment. Elaine?
Jerika, thank you. As accusations of sexual harassment have come out in several industries, misconduct on Capitol Hill is also getting attention. Elana Schor is a congressional reporter for Politico. She joins me now from our Washington bureau. So, Elana, I've read the piece that you and Rachel Bade worked on. I've read subsequent pieces. Based on your reporting, can you put into perspective the extent of the problem of sexual misconduct on Capitol Hill and describe the kinds of incidents that you've been reporting on?
Absolutely. The bulk of the incidents that we've heard about and are now coming through to us are from women who would like to remain anonymous. But the common thread here is that they have always been in junior positions in offices. And whether it was senior male staffers or in a couple of stories that we haven't yet been able to put into print, lawmakers, they felt, taken advantage of. These aren't always direct cases of assault. Oftentimes it's more of a gray area, being made to feel like if you don't comply with certain socially difficult situations like shoulder massages, you won't get promotions, you won't be in the room where it happens, so to speak. And oftentimes this really chills these women from pursuing a career on Capitol Hill. And as a result, we see that a lot of the jobs on the Hill go to white males. So really, the Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey issues are starting a bit of soul searching on Capitol Hill about what can actually be done.
Right. It was really eye-opening to read your piece. What are some of the things that can prevent incidents like these from being reported and dealt with by the office that some of these female staffers didn't even know about, the Office of Compliance?
Yes. So the Office of Compliance was created as actually part of Newt Gingrich's contract with America more than 20 years ago. And at the time, it was built as part of a broader effort to basically apply certain labor laws that worked in the private sector to Congress, which was at that point totally exempt from most labor laws that we sort of assume any office is covered by. Now, what's going on here, though, is the Office of Compliance is more than 20 years old. Its budget has remained relatively static. And the training on harassment that it delivers to Hill offices, Elaine, is not mandatory. It's voluntary. So you're relying on a tiny office that sources tell us does the best it can. It doesn't have the money and it doesn't have the law behind it to make this work.
And as I understand it, victims are told that they have to undergo 30 days of counseling as well before the process can move forward. Let's talk about this. Congresswomen Jackie Speier and Brenda Lawrence are planning to introduce legislation to target the quote-unquote broken system when it comes to this issue on Capitol Hill. I want to play a clip of Representative Speier describing misconduct that she says she experienced while working in Washington.
Like so many of you, I have a Me Too story to share. I was working as a congressional staffer. The chief of staff held my face, kissed me, and stuck his tongue in my mouth. So I know what it's like to keep these things hidden deep down inside.
So what are some of the goals, Elana, of the specific legislation that Speier is expected to unveil?
Well, Speier's first task is to make this training mandatory. And her point being, these offices don't often know about the Office of Compliance. The Office of Compliance is trying to get itself out there as a resource, but her bill would require it. And she would also essentially streamline the process to make it a lot easier and remove some of these loopholes that create a months-long process that can often chill these women from really proceeding because they have to work in the office where the alleged harassment occurred the entire time.
So the Congresswoman Speier has introduced a version of this bill every year since 2014. Is there a sense now, Elana, that given the political atmosphere, given the fact that we've had high-profile cases now of sexual misconduct in other industries, they've been very prominent headlines about this, and more women and men have come out with their own Me Too stories. Is there a sense that perhaps there may be some momentum where there hasn't been in the past?
Well, I think it's time to be optimistic, but perhaps not too optimistic. And that's frankly because lawmakers themselves would be subject to this mandatory training under one of these bills. And it's not that every lawmaker across the board doesn't want to be a part of this, but you're dealing with a decades-long culture that's entrenched on Capitol Hill. And at a time when budgets are really tight, the idea of allowing more money to go to the Office of Compliance might also raise some concerns.
All right, a lot of considerations, I suppose, politically. Elana Schor, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.